All right, kids, time to get back to the lanes. If you're not there yet, we need you there now. The sun is setting behind the hill. We can see it slowly disappearing. By the time we get everybody back to the lanes that aren't here already, we'll be ready to roll. If you're in, you're in. Everybody. Top dragster, top sportsman, sportsman motorcycle, super street, stock, super comp, super stock, super gas. If you're in, you're in. Need you back to the lanes, please. Comp already settled, so obviously Tony and Scott don't need to come join us, but Fred Murphy, Justin Cooper, Cody Compton, Gary Oakes, Jimmy DeFrank, Lynn Schneider, Chris Cannon, Russ Stevenson. Forgot who the other guy was in Super Comp. There's three. Stock Eliminator, Mark Kirby, Larry Gilly, Justin Lamb. Need you guys back to the lanes. Just because I didn't call out your name specifically. If you're in, you're in. Need you back to the lanes, please. All winners, back to the lanes. Let's go, boys and girls. And our alcohol dragsters and alcohol funny cars, they're going to be coming out for their final qualifier here in just a moment as well. All winners, if you're not in the lanes, you're late. The sun's down, the tree's clean, we're ready to go. Alcohol dragster, alcohol funny car needs you to the lanes as well. Final qualifying. Come on down. Sun is set. The wind has shifted. The air has cooled considerably. We are ready for semifinals and finals. Jeff Havens and Mike Coughlin. You've been dancing us through Top Dragster. You ready? You gonna do this again?
Might as well.
Okay.
But not with that. Jeff Havens, left side from Yakima, Washington, and he is paired with Mike Coughlin. Winner going to come back for the final. Mike, working on 3, looks to make 4. Jeff Havens said, well, this is almost as much fun as driving my Sportsman motorcycle. 676 for Havens. Havens in the Toyota lane. Mike Coughlin, blown Chevrolet A616. The O'Reilly side. Crew's putting Coughlin in position. Havens just rolling on in. Says, I've seen it a long time. I know where that starting line is. Purged. Got the whiz out. And now we are ready. Coughlin pre-staged. Havens letting the car roll forward. Now they roll that next 6 to 9 inches. Havens in. Coughlin in. Havens out first. Here comes that blown car. Going to try and catch him. Not able to do that. Double breakout. Havens under by 9 thou. Coughlin under by 23 thou. Jeff Havens, 009, leaving the line, able to hold it all the way through. Coughlin with a 28. His streak stops at 2. But ready to start another one tomorrow. And he went lots of rounds, picking up points. Jeff head open. Division champ with the single. He's run every race, every run this weekend, or yesterday and today, in the left lane. Now putting a run on in the right lane just so he is prepared. He knows where he's comfortable one side, use this side. Each side a little bit different look at the tree. Each side a little bit different. Even though we measure everything, drivers are more comfortable. They get a feel for which way they want to look, what they're ready to go. So Ed's taking this opportunity to use the right lane. Moves a little bit to the left of the groove. He brings it right back in, finishes with a 677 at 200.41 miles per hour. At open, Jeff Havens going to meet in the finals of Top Dragster. Motorcycle final. Cody Compton, the Washington racer, in the Toyota lane. Dialing at 962, Gary Oakes from Vegas, his Kawasaki KZ 875. So a Nevada-based KZ Kawasaki, a Washington-based Suzuki Hayabusa. Both are bar bikes with a big wide treadless tire behind them. Some people call it a slick. Red light by Cody Compton. Gary Oakes will take the win. Gary will look at the time slip, and it's one of those. He said, well, I guess I'm lucky this one. He wins 888 at 148. Gary Oakes, the motorcycle champ. Cody Compton, red by a bunch, then runs 960 on his 962 dial. Top Sportsman semifinals, Jeff Gillette and Dan Borg. Bay Area regulars, Gillette from Benicia. The GTO, left side, the white car. Dan Borg, the Monte Carlo from San Francisco. He's in the right lane. Cubic inch difference, like 187. And the big motored car in the right lane is only going to get to leave 100th after the other car. Alcohol. Top alcohol dragster, top alcohol funny car. Make your way to the lanes, please. Alcohol cars to the staging lanes, please. Now we've got a Pontiac and two Chevys in the semis. And we know there's one Chevy going to the final. Is it going to meet a Pontiac? Or is it going to be two red cars? We're going to find out. And the final will be two red cars. Dan Borg, 004 light, runs a 685. There's a 14 thousandths package for that red Monte Carlo at 202 miles an hour. Gillette goes 685 with a 7 on a 685. His reaction time was a 41. There was nothing he could do once they left the line. Steve Galileo, Corvette going to come from San Francisco. We got an all San Francisco final, all Chevy final. Steve Galileo, his Corvette, dialing at 689. Running Dan Borg. Interesting. Dan Borg dialed 684. There'll be a few hunt apart leaving, unless they make major adjustments. With the sun dropping behind the hill, well, I know that that really isn't what happened, but we use that because it's easier terminology. And the temperature dropping, but the track staying warm. We'll see if Galileo surprises himself. He does. 688. 688 at 199. Stock eliminator up next. The Mopars battling to see who's going to come back and meet the Chevy in the final. Larry Gilly, E-Automatic, 69 Dart, dialed at 1095 in the Toyota lane. F-Automatic, 73 Duster. Mark Kirby, O'Reilly side, dialing at 1102. It's a pair of 340s. Coming back to race a Copo. Which one will it be? Gilly. This basically is his home track. Mark Kirby. It's Famoso. It can be Las Vegas. It can be here. But with the number of stock eliminator races at Auto Club Famoso, I don't think it's going to be there. It could be here or Vegas. Well, I think it's right. Kirby, Gilly, and it will be Larry Gilly, 11:22 and 99 miles an hour. He was 71. Mark Kirby was just flat late. He runs 11:25 at 99 miles an hour also. So it's going to be the Black Dart, Larry Gilly, coming back to meet the white Camaro of Justin Land, factory shootout D. Index of 1060, that's what you see on the board. Justin Land may See what he can do leaving the line, run it out to about half track or 1,000 feet and just back off. Or he could run it all the way through to tell how much the air temperature difference and the current breeze direction and velocity makes. Wheels up, starts out fairly well. And he drove it right out the back. 979 at 135. Reaction time was outstanding. 005 like. He will meet Larry Gilly in the final of Stock Eliminator. And here is the final in Super Street. From Division 6, the defending champion. That pearlescent white 67 Chevelle of Justin Cooper. Fred Murphy in the O'Reilly lane. His Vega wagon, he is retired, lives in Fountain Valley. Retirement has nothing to do with working or not. Murphy, I don't believe has been in nearly the number of finals that Justin Cooper has. Well, we're going to be racing. We're going to battle as they get to the finish line. Chevelle or Vega, it will be Fred Murphy in no time like the present to win your first final round. Fred Murphy, 10.906 at 132 miles an hour, 10.917 for Justin Cooper at 131 by 10. Down, or a hundredth of a second, 100. He picks up the win. In Super Gas, Two Street Roadsters are meeting, and it will be Ron McKenzie. McKenzie starts trip zip perfect, goes 985.2 in his 57 Corvette. The O'Reilly lane, Steve Schmidt went red, then a 985 with a 2, then 156 miles an hour. So, it will be the Corvette Roadster meeting Mike Boner from Lake Havasu City in the 67 Camaro. Mike Boehner, 9.902 at 166. There's our final. In Super Gas coming out, a door car and a street roadster. And I'll say, who would have thunk that yesterday afternoon? And the dragsters meet to see who's going to come back and run the Corvette in the finals of Super Comp. Cody Weber out of Kingman, Cheerway Engine Machine in the Toyota lane. Right side, Russ Stevenson, the lineman from South Jordan, Utah.
Actually searching.
Lunk is causing trouble in the tower.
Me?
Whoa, they're going racing. Cody and Russ. Russ or Cody. Win light comes on for Russ. Russ Stevenson in a double breakout goes to the finals. The Utah racer in the O'Reilly lane, 888, under by 2. He left with a 10. At 173 miles an hour, 886 for Cody Weber, under by 4. He left with a 13 and runs at 165 miles an hour. Russ is going to be the lone surviving, well, really the last standing dragster, well, last rolling dragster in the category. And he will come back to meet Chris Cannon, the Botell Washington Corvette. Way over to the side. I think he may just take a light and say, I'm good. He did. We're good. He will back it out and be all ready over toward the staging lanes. Alcohol category should be in the lanes ready to go. And the finals in Superstock coming up. Len Schneider, the GTK Automatic Thunderbird from Grass Valley, from his 1994 Quality Care Nationals. Anybody remember where that was? Okay. In 1994, he is paired with Jimmy DeFrank in his C-Modified California car cover Cobalt. Cobalt dial at 876, 1007. The dial for the Toyota. .351 powered Thunderbird, 322 cubic inch Chevrolet. Schneider out. The California car cover Cobalt giving chase, and it will be Jimmy DeFrank. Both running under. Jimmy under by 4 thou, 10 flat. Len under by 7. So running closer to the dial-in, Jimmy DeFrank is your Superstock champion of race number 1. Now we're watching. Let's see which we're going to have come out next. Well, we are watching. See who rolls out next.
Agency at the top end.
Winners and runner-up. Don't forget, stop by Tech. They'll be more than happy to check you for the contingencies while you roll over the scale. Well, they'll wait until you're done rolling over the scale because you need to stop up there and get everything verified. Once your contingencies are done, we will be using the winner's circle for all awards. And again, as you're at the scales being checked, everybody goes to the scales, winners and runner-up. They can do your contingency, then the winners will come down just across from the starting line. Next to the main Sonoma Raceway grandstand is the winner's circle, and that's where the grin and grip photos and awards will be. or as we read, Sunoco Victory Lane.
Well, they quick you tournament.
And as the top alcohol dragsters are making their way out.
The only thing I want to see 4 wide is 37. Don't do that because of the frost.
Yeah, the temperature drops, the air temperature drops drastically. As we lose the sunlight, track retains its heat for a long period of time. As you and Dennis Taylor had talked about earlier, this may be one of the biggest that we'll see. It may take a few minutes before they get out here because he'll have story after story to tell. Nice crews taking a look at the track. Bill Dunlap coming out. Start things off. Here we go. And as we get started in this alcohol qualifying session, turn back Bob Unkerfer.
Thank you, Rick, and we get ready to go with our final qualifier. This will set our 8-car field. 9 dragsters. 10 funny cars. Dunlap comes rolling up for his final shot at it. Okay, so who's going to do what this session, DT? Tell us.
Heck if I know. I'm hoping all these guys run career best. How's that?
That'll work. We have determined that the track record here is Morgan Lucas and alcohol dragster to 518.
All right. Well, there's a good chance that ain't gonna be the track record when we're done.
And our track record in alcohol funny car is Terry Ruckman at a 545.6.
I think we saw that one, didn't we?
We did see that one.
Well, I believe I spotted that.
Bill Dunlap going to see what he can do. To get in, you look at the scoreboard down there, and it says 551. That's Ron Anderson's number. Bill Dunlap wants to get this hot rod into the program. Going to need to run quicker than that. Dennis, you and I were talking earlier about the A-Fuel cars coming up and just doing a nothing burnout, and that's what Bill Dunlap just did. And we have seen it numerous times over the years where they just come out and run low ET to get down the racetrack.
Yeah, and we don't know if that is on, per orders from the car owner, or is that just Dunlap doing that? Who knows? Each team has their own routine.
So it'll be interesting to see what Bill does. Can he get into that 550 program, that 550 range? Crew guys down there talking pretty loudly with his hands.
What's he say? What's he say?
Well, I don't know. I can't read hands too well. Especially when he's pointing towards the other end of the racetrack and I'm back here. Warren Evans from Drag Racer TV pops up and says, I can read hands. At least one sign I know. Well, we know that's Drag Racer TV is #1. No, I held up that finger, not that finger. Okay, all right. All right, let's see what Bill Dunlap does. Can he muster up a 550? Car's capable. .607, 242 miles an hour is not going to do it. It is his best run of the three today, but it'll put him in the number 9 spot. Picked up a half a second each pass as he went down the racetrack, as Warren Evans points out, from a 7:06 to a mid-6 to a low 6.
Well, 2 more runs and he'll run 5 flat.
There you go. Well, if he gets in as an alternate, he'll have a shot tomorrow.
So we know which 8 cars are going to race. Now it's time to shuffle the deck.
And that is going to be interesting. Ron Anderson should be he's coming up on the right-hand side. I do not see Jerry Cumry, though. And they should be paired.
I think they were having trouble getting out of the pits and getting around the corner down there, so we may be on hold here for just a second.
Well, we'll see what we can do. Anderson sitting on the bump with that 551. He's been 568 and 551 to get him into the show. Cumry, after a shutoff opening round, did manage to muster up a 545, 261 mile an hour lap. And now the call goes out to fire 1, so it will be Ron Anderson. Cumry is in. Conditions outside. I haven't been outside for a while, but I know the temp's dropping.
It's a wee bit chilly.
Bit chilly?
And getting chillier by the moment. Corrected altitude, I believe, is down in the 400 to 500 foot range right now.
That means it's probably going to be down in about sea level here in the next 20 minutes.
As the funny car guys are back there licking their chops.
So Cumry doesn't get to make a pass, but he stays in the show. Saves some wear and tear and some parts for the Eakins family race operations and the Torco machine. Anderson up on the right-hand side. See if he can get off that bump spot, because all it's about now is shuffling the field, or shuffling the deck, as DT said. Who's going to run whom when we get to eliminations tomorrow? That is one of the things I've noticed out here. The weather, the stability of the weather. I mean, what it was today is pretty much what you'll see tomorrow out here, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we have seen days where the cloud cover, from the coast comes in and stays for a while. And I don't know that we're going to see that tomorrow. I would say we're looking at a carbon copy of today.
Well, the cloud cover was in this morning, stayed for a while, but it cleared out about 10:30 or so. So we should be okay by the time we get to the alcohol cars for first round tomorrow. About a 5:38, 281 miles an hour. Wow.
I told you.
Yep.
That car holds the speed record.
It does hold the speed record at 285. Well, it's definitely showing its mettle right now.
Kind of a funny situation there. It almost seemed like his foot backed off the throttle just a smidge.
Just a
and he
smidge.
had to push it back down again.
Yep. Kind of like the launch threw him back a little bit. He had to settle back down in the seat.
Yeah, exactly.
So Anderson gets off the bump, climbs up to a 5:38, puts Casey Grizel's hot rod on the bump. And speaking of Casey, he's getting ready to come up next. Casey will be up alongside Garrett Bateman. Bateman right now sitting number 4, but he knows. He just watched that 5:38 pop up on the board. Conditions right now, prime time. Bateman would love to get down into that 5:20 zone.
This car has run as quick as 5:18, so we could possibly see our first teen here. I know they'd be real happy with a low 20. Trust me.
They would be happy with a low 20. Casey Grizel would be happy just to get off of that bump spot and climb up the ladder a little bit. Sir Jerry Darian has been on the phone talking to the guys, saying, well, let's do this. Let's do this. Monitoring the weather with the guys and making that final set and final determination. Man. Definitely going to be interesting. Here we go. Bateman with the Boost Performance entry. Sit number 4. Casey's sit number 8. Shuffle in the field. Who will run whom? Come mañana. Well, I like Kim Parker's scoop plug the other day. I have a chance to see it dangling there. Lanes seem to be pretty even. Don't see a lot of difference between the two.
No, the track prep and the equipment that they use here, at Sonoma Raceway is top notch, so I don't see any discrepancy. Hey, how can you when we saw side-by-side 540 runs in alcohol funny car, right?
Yep. Which, by the way, is the new track record, which is probably going to be reset at least 1 or 2 more times before we roll out this weekend. More about that later. Right now, it's Bateman and Casey. .527, 272 by Bateman. Casey jumps up. 5:33, 272 miles an hour. Stout numbers, both of them, short and long.
Yeah, that great run by both teams. Garrett at almost 228 at the 8th mile, 272, almost 273 at the quarter mile. That's a run they'd like to have had on Q2, But
Yep.
Great job, Rick Hinkleman and Ryan Haven and the boys. Go pick up your driver.
Casey's not bad, picking up that 5:33 number, 272 miles an hour. Moves them up to the number 5 spot. That's a first-round matchup if nothing changes.
And, Jerry, if you're listening to this at home, your tuning by proxy over the phone is working well. Good job.
Seems to be hanging in there. You stay home, take care of yourself, and get well. Keep tuning the boys up via the modern technology. Giving pause for a moment to clear off the top end of the racetrack. It looks like we're clear now. It's Johnny Otten. 524, 275 miles an hour for the NGK ARP machine over there on the left-hand side. Kim Parker, 536 in that last session at 258 miles an hour, and there's more left in Kim's car. Be interesting to see what the Car Star entry can do over here on the right-hand side. Yep.
Low qualifier in both categories. Don't think these guys aren't going for that.
$500, buy a little fuel, buy some parts. Well, it depends on where you eat on buying dinner for the crew. We'll do it at the Golden Arches or Chick-fil-A, yes. Johnny on the left looking for that number 1 spot. Kim liked to be in the top half of the field. She's been there before. She can do it. Again, tip of the cap to Ken Meadows. And everybody at Plumbing Concepts for not only sponsoring the alcohol cars here this weekend, but also the bonus money for that number 1 qualifying spot.
Yeah, it's great to see Kenny and Cheryl both here this weekend. Cheryl, we love you. We're glad you're here to see this weekend, and all of these racers really appreciate your efforts to let them come back and race at this great racetrack.
Okay. Otten in the teens.
You could possibly see side-by-side teams here. Kim's done it numerous times. Could happen. Will it happen? We're going to find out.
Well, that's shoulda, woulda, coulda, the 3 ugly triplets of drag racing.
All I know is that that car in the O'Reilly lane is going to be barking and shooting header flames when she stands on the gas. Hopefully both of these cars will make it down there without dropping cylinders.
Tell you what, the last few cars have certainly been hammering it hard. See what we can do here. .522, 276. Otten picks up a couple of hun. At 522. At 276, sits in the number 2 spot for Kim. 536.3 this time around. She was 536.1 in the last session. Gives her bracket-like consistency, but I don't know if that's enough to win a round or two. That's going to have to be on the game plan going up against the 520 car.
Well, you certainly are, but with conditions, I believe we're running a little bit earlier tomorrow than we ran tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, you can win from any position in this field.
That's true.
You certainly need a little luck. You need a lucky round. These are, 8 of the best, certainly on the coast, if not in the country anyway.
Yep.
And it could be anybody's race.
Tuners are certainly going to be earning their keep tomorrow.
Well, they sure are, and like I used to tell my old crew chief, Ora Vasquez, when the driver and the crew chief both show up on the same day,
look out.
You're usually holding a trophy at the end of the day.
Yep. Unfortunately, it's most of the time the tuner shows up and the driver's out in the parking lot, or
sometimes one run the driver saves you, and then the next run the tuner saves you.
Yep.
You can still win that way. Ora and I did it before. But once or twice we both showed up on the same day, and it was a beautiful thing.
What you're saying is you've starred in that movie?
What's that?
You starred in that movie?
I have once or twice.
All right, here we go. Final pair. This will set the field. Jasmine Salinas, 521, your number 1 qualifier. 524 by Sean Cow. He's been bumped back to number 3. He's been 520, not once, but twice. Our lone blown car and the man on a mission.
And at this moment, he's trying to pick Jasmine Salinas' pocket for that low qualifier money.
Yep. Now, Norm Grimes over there with Sean Kelly and the gang. Norm has been down to this racetrack as a tuner. How many times would you say in his life?
Well, more than I could count if you want to go back,
man.
you know, to the Rick
Santos days. That's what,
and Jack
I'm referring
O'Bannon
to.
and, you know, all of that. So I guarantee you they're going for it. Number 2 isn't what they're settling for.
Well, and they're number 3 right now. So Sean Kelly and Jasmine. Jasmine's been 5:33 and 5:21 if you tuned in late on dragracer.tv. But Jasmine's sitting number 1. Callie number 3. Callie been on a hot streak of late. I mean, absolutely blistering hot. But Jasmine, her second divisional or regional event of the year. All the rest of her runs have been made at national events. She's been to the semifinals this year. She knows how to get it done.
You don't think there's a proud papa in Denver wanting to know what's going on here, do you?
I guarantee you they're glued to the dragracer.tv right now. Mike, hang on. We're about to see what happens. $5:21.7 at 277 miles an hour. You said he was out to pick her pocket by 1,000th of a second. He did just that. 5:21.7 put Sean Kelly number 1. Jasmine's car jumped up on the tires there. She shut him off to a 17:62. But Callie goes to number 1, Jasmine number 2. There's 1,000th of a second between them.
Congratulations to Sean Cowie for being the number 1 qualifier and picking up that $500 bonus. Thank you, Chess Bushy, for putting that up for the guys this weekend. And now, let's see what happens in funny cars. There's a couple of guys up here that have a lot of butterflies and are really nervous right now.
Sean Kelly gets Jerry Cumry. Jasmine Salinas and Ron Anderson will do battle. Kim Parker and Johnny Otten will square off against each other. And Garrett Bateman and Kaser Gazelle, as we said a while ago when they ran, number 4 and 5 qualifiers. They'll be back tomorrow and face each other one more time. So the field's set. Those are the pairings. Alcohol funny car getting ready to come up. We've got 10 funny cars on the ground. We have 2 that are currently not qualified, and you're sitting here looking at them, getting ready to come to life. Mikey D and Chris Marshall. And I'll guarantee you, after watching all these alcohol dragsters go down the racetrack, the guys right now are salivating for this final opportunity to get down.
And I guarantee you, Chris Marshall, all he's thinking about is, please be smooth for the first 300 feet, baby, because if it is, there might be a new number 1 qualifier.
It could be a rocket ship. But getting through that first 300 feet, and it's not a matter of too much horsepower, or it can sometimes be not putting enough power out to get the tires to last.
Well, you know, like I talked with the announcers on the national event level, it's not a matter of horsepower. It's a matter of application of that horsepower, because everybody kind of makes the same horsepower realistically. And it's what you do in the bell housing and the transmission ratio that makes the big difference here.
What kind of RPM do these cars leave at these days?
Well, these days they're up 6,500, 7,000, unless your name is Ulf Leanders. Ulf Leanders is 8,000 plus, and it's amazing to listen to that car.
Oh,
and
it
that it makes it.
Yeah, it sings. He definitely has his own setup and it works. I mean, he's getting down racetracks. So Mikey D, number 9. Chris Marshall right now, number 10. Mike's over in the left-hand lane, the Toyota lane. Chris Marshall here on the O'Reilly side. Both of the drivers looking down track at a 561 number. Both of them knowing that a 540 right now would sure be sweet. A low 550 would be just as sweet to get in.
And the key is just being smooth in the first 80 feet or so.
Marshall, 5:49.9, 267 miles an hour. Mikey D goes a 5:87 at 2:56, and Marshall, look at the gang run to the car. They are tipping the cap, number 3 on the qualifying sheet with that run.
You know, I got to tell you, Chris Marshall and Alan Mascourt, I think they just have a flair for the dramatic. We've seen them do this
Yep.
more than
once.
they would like to know, I'm sure. Where they struggle in the first couple of qualifying sessions, and then they lay one down. You know, that car is plenty capable.
It is plenty capable. Now, there are cars that we'll see come out, and they'll make an attempt to try something that they haven't tried before, or try a little bit different setup because they know that they're in the show. But for Chris Marshall and the gang, it's not a matter of knowing they're in. It's a matter of scrambling to get there. For the former Rookie of the Year, 5:49.9 at 267, up to that number 3 spot.
Let me tell you something, Bob. When you're dealing with the type of competitors that we have here, the quality of the competitors, nobody's trying anything other than trying to go faster every run, because you don't have the luxury of having a run to waste to try something.
Okay.
In a 16-car show, yeah, maybe you have that opportunity, but not when the field is this tight. And this could go on record as the quickest regional race in NHRA history.
It could. I mean, Ruckman is in with a 40. Brian Howell's in with a 40. Marshall's now in with a 40. The bump becomes Sean Bellamere's 5:58. There's only 2 cars above a 5:55. And we're only 2 cars into the session. Here comes Steve Gasparelli and Brett Williamson.
Last run, Brett Williamson broke a rear end, and they were back there hustling, having to change the ring and pinion in that car. I'm just glad to see him up here and that they made it.
Brett Williamson has been running this car for how long? I mean, the Team Eagle Corvette bodied entry.
Well, I'm wanting to say since the late 1990s, but this car has been competitive all the way, and they showed earlier today that they're on the verge of running some low 50s with this car as well.
Yep. Minor Brothers power plant for both he and Gasparelli. And Fred and Bob certainly can make some horsepower out of their combination. So Gasparelli on the left-hand side, he sits number 7 at a 5:58. Williamson just got bumped out. His 5:61 now becomes the first alternate if somebody can't answer the bell for round 1 tomorrow. But Brett certainly doesn't want to go into Saturday eliminations knowing that he's relying on somebody else to have an issue. He wants to set his own chart, be his own racer, see what he can do. Williamson brought the RPMs up, rolled the beams, gets no time recorded on the right-hand side. For Gasparelli, there on the left, he's going to have to rely on his 5:58 to hold him in. We need top sportsman, top dragster, and stock eliminator finalists to the lanes. Everybody else is here. Top sportsman, top dragster, and stock eliminator finalists, we need you to the lanes, please.
You know, I can tell you as a driver, Brett Williamson, that is just a terrible feeling. You've got the car revved up, your foot's on the stop on the clutch, you're holding it with the brake, and the air gap just is not right. And there's nothing you can do as it's pulling you through the beams. You're darn near pulling on the brake handle with 2 hands. The only thing you can do is let off the gas, but if you do that, it's just not going to run the way you had it set up. It's an incredibly hopeless feeling. My heart goes out to that team. They thrashed so hard back there in the pits and gave it such a valiant effort. Man, that is just really tough.
And when that happens, I mean, the only thing you can do is just try to hang in there and hope you catch the light. The light comes down before the car rolls completely out of the beams.
Yeah, obviously, and when stuff like that happens, of course, you go through before the tree is activated, so you don't get a time. The only thing he'll get is whatever data he's got on his
computer. And now he's at the mercy of somebody braking to get back into the show as an alternate. As Doug Gordon and Sean Bellemere come up. Sean's gone from a 598 to a 558. Doug Gordon's come down from a 560 to a 555. Both these guys right now would sure like to find a 540 lap, wouldn't they?
Well, it certainly would. And, Sean Bellemere told me after that last run, the thing was out there shaking pretty hard. And he just hoped it would make it through there, and he never lifted or pedaled it or anything, and it still ran 558. If they could get this thing to go smooth through the troubled area, this thing will run half a tenth better.
Well, we'll see what Sean can do. The Master Cam, red line Camaro over here on the O'Reilly side, and Doug Gordon. Talked about it earlier. Certainly a 540 capable car, as he's been in the 530s before. In fact, I think he and Andy Whiteley still hold the record for the quickest ever side-by-side race.
You are correct, sir. Both 30s.
Yep. So Doug on the left, sitting number 5, Sean number 8. Again, need all of our finalists back to the lanes, please. Top Sportsman, Top Dragster, and Stock Eliminator. I think we've got everybody but you. Need you to lanes, please. .547, 269. There's the 540 range for Doug. Sean rattled again. Couldn't get through that troubled zone. He will stay your number 8 qualifier right now.
Wow. 558, number 8. We're going to have to check the archives and see what the quickest Lucas Oil regional race has been, but that is spectacular.
That's a stout field. Stout field of drivers. Ruckman, Howe, Gordon, Marshall, Jay Payne, Nick Janik, Steve Gasparelli, Sean Bellemere. I mean, each and every one of those, I think except for Ruckman, has stood on the national event winner stage before.
Yeah, and even the non-qualifiers, Mikey D and Brett Williamson,
yep.
As you'd like to say, there's not a duck in the bunch in that one.
No ducks on the pond. Top end calls in clear. So Doug moves up to the number 3 spot with that lap. Right now he's looking at a date with Nick Janik in the opening round. But that may shuffle here because here comes Nick.
If we see another 40 in this pair, you could have a guy that ran a 40 and not have lane choice tomorrow. Do you realize that?
You could. Right now the top 4 are all in the 40s. Everybody else in the 550 zone. Jay with that very smooth 553 lap a little while ago. Holding on to the number 5 spot, Janik number 6, but as we have seen, this is the session for shuffling the field. And who's going to stay or be in that number 1 spot, picking up the bonus for the number 1 qualifying effort once all is said and done.
And both of these cars have 540 time slips to their credit as well, so don't be surprised here.
Payne on the left. Janik on the right. Both drivers still with relatively new race cars.
Newer rebuilt.
Newer rebuilt, yeah. RPM's up. Whoa, where's Nick going? Payne with a 552 lap at 266. He improves. Nick Janik came off the line, and then he was headed for the center stripe out there. Whew. So Jay improves by a hair. Stays number 5. Janik number 6.
You know, that's just criminal that you go 5:52 and you're not going to have lane choice tomorrow. You know?
Yep.
Oh, man. This is getting serious.
That would have been low by 200 of this.
And our final pair going to be rolling out at us. And they will be duking it out for that number 1 spot. And boy, what a pair of runs they put down just a while ago. 5:45.6 and a 5:45.9. Ruckman now over here on the right-hand side. Brian Howe over on the left. Terry sitting number 1. Brian number 2. But just like top alcohol dragster, where you got 1,000th of a second between the number 1 and 2 qualifiers, here you've got 3,000ths of a second. It's tight.
And this would be a replay of your final round last weekend at Woodburn, with both of them in the same lanes that they were in Woodburn, too.
Last year in Vegas, 550.
All right. Number 1, number 2. Number 1 in the right lane, number 2 in the left. Will it stay that way, or are they going to swap positions? Because right now, that's all they can do. Be interesting to see what kind of numbers come out of these two after those side-by-side 5:45s in the last session. Got to believe right now they're throwing everything they got at it.
And I'm not sure about Brian Haug's 5:45, but Terry Ruckman's 5:45 was a career best. That's as quick as he's ever run in one of these cars, and don't think he wasn't happy about it.
Oh, he should have been. Definitely.
You know, we love the career best thing. I get so excited for the guys when you run a career best. There's just nothing that feels better than that.
What was your career best?
Right here, 5:54 with a 0.262. 11 years ago.
Wow. Oh, man. Brian Howe swaps places with Terry Ruckman. How about a 5:41.6? 270-mile-an-hour lap down the racetrack. Terry, another bracket car, 5:45.3. Picking up 2,000ths of a second. 269 miles an hour. Howe at 270. So Brian goes to number 1. Dispatches Terry Ruckman back to the number 2 spot. You were looking at the numbers as they were coming up on the CompuLink screen, Dennis.
Well, again, you know, I'm the guy that loves those 330-foot numbers. Brian Haug with the quickest run we've seen today at 2.44 seconds. and then 214.5 miles an hour at the 8th. That thing was cooking. Congratulations to Brian Haug. He gets that $500 low qualifier bonus. Those two cars are going to be tough to beat tomorrow.
Brian Howe, number 1 qualifier, taking on Sean Bellemere. Oh, that'll be an interesting pair. Steve Gasparelli and Terry Ruckman are going to do battle. Nick Janis will pick the lane that Doug Gordon tells him to pick. And Chris Marshall has lane choice over Jay Payne. So he certainly shuffled the field that time around. 5:58 for the number 8 qualifier, 5:41.6. Brian Howe, number 1.
Yeah, we're just going to see some great racing here tomorrow. I mean, this is as good as it gets in alcohol funny car and alcohol dragster.
Just think, your career best, you said, was a 5:54?
Yep.
11 years ago.
11 years ago.
And you'd be number 6 qualifier here tonight.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I sure miss driving these cars. These things were the most fun of any of the race cars I ever drove. Alcohol funny car was certainly the most fun. And thank you again, Kenny and Cheryl Meadows, Plumbing Concepts, for making it possible for these guys to come back and race here, because they love it here.
Well, it definitely shows from the numbers we're seeing. Dennis, thank you very much. Appreciate you, as always, you sitting in. Hope to see you tomorrow. Go have a hot toddy tonight. Get rid of that cold or whatever you're working on. So we are down to a few final rounds left. Our top dragster final, our top sportsman final, stock eliminator final, super comp, and that all-important super gas final to determine how quickly Rick Carlson has to pay me my dollar.
In the morning with your... How'd I just show up with your Golden Arches drink? That's what we talked about. Of course, I could give you the cash, and then I wouldn't have to pull off the side of the road. You can stop. I can give it to you now. You'll have plenty of time in the morning trying to get across. No, it'll be Saturday, 37. Like I said, half hour, 45 minutes, tops.
Yeah, beats the hour it's taken the last couple of mornings. Although I do have to admit, this morning it was definitely a little bit quicker. I think because I hit the road a little bit earlier, I beat some of the traffic. Not all of it, but some of it.
And coming the other direction, at night, when I left last night, they were almost to the interstate. Or to 101, I guess, not the interstate. Each morning it takes a better part of 10 minutes to get here. Of course, if you want the speed limit, to take 20. Here we go with our remaining final rounds of competition. First out, looks like it's going to be Super Comp. 890 index. Russ Stevenson. Russ Stevenson in the dragster from south of Jordan, Utah, in the O'Reilly right lane. He is paired with Chris Cannon, the Corvette from both L. Washington, in the Toyota left lane. What do we start off with? I think 3 roadsters in Super Comp and about 120 dragsters, something like that.
3 non-dragsters.
3 non-dragsters. And one of those non-dragsters made it to the final. That's Chris Cannon and Russ Stevenson, the Utah racer in the dragster. Then we're going to go to the all-important Super Gas final. All kinds of possibilities when we get there. Now they've decided to move in. Corvette, dragster, dragster, Corvette. Chris or Russ? It's going to be Russ Stevenson picking up the win in the dragster. 891. Hunt over the index. 892 for Chris Cannon. 2 over the index. Stevenson winning the starting line. Stevenson winning the finish line, and he is your Super Comp champ. Now we go to Super Gas. Mike Boner from Havasu City. I'm the Mike Gillian Boner, 67 Camaro. Toyota side, Ron McKenzie, Ferndale, Washington. Sunset Performance Engines, 57 Corvette. Close to 600 cubic inches per side. 990 their target number. Besides the Wally, the points, there's big bucks awaiting. The winner, who happens to be Mike Boner. Mike Boner in the Camaro, 988. He is under by 2. 986 for Ron McKenzie in the Corvette. He's under by 4. Running closer to the number with 21. His reaction time, Mike Boner. Lake Havasu City in the Camaro. Stock eliminator, Larry Gilly and Justin Lamb. Larry Gilly is E-Automatic 69 Dart, dialing at 1089. Right lane, left lane. The right lane, Justin Lamb. Redback Mosier and A1 Performance 2018 Copo Camaro. The Copo dials at 978. A little more than 2 bulb head start for the black car, and the white car is going to play catch up. Gilly and the dart out there. The Copo and Justin Lamb chasing, catching, and moving around for the win. 980 Justin Lamb. That Camaro at 125. 1090 for Larry Gilly at 118. Justin 27 at the starting line. Gilly at 59. Justin Lamb, your stock eliminator winner. 2 to go. Top dragster and top sportsman. Jeff Havens. Yakima, Washington, dialing at 672. The Toyota left lane. Ed Open, division champ, defending from Pleasant Grove, Utah, dialed at 675. See Havens as he purges the nitrous system, going up into the air. Watching to see if there any movement as they pull into stage. Havens moves forward. Now Ed Open will roll all the way in. Just guessing. They are rolling. Havens left side, Open right side. Ed Open 682 at 195. 681 for Jeff Havens at 172. Margin of victory 19 thousandths of a second. Final race of the day. Top sportsman Steve Galileo, his red Corvette, dialing at 687. Dan Borg, his red Monte Carlo, dialed at 684. This time of the evening, I don't need to tell you lanes because by now all of us here can tell the difference between the 63 Corvette and the 99 Monte Carlo. Both racers from San Francisco. Both are machinists. Stories we're hearing about Danny Borg back at Baylands Raceway. That's...
He's younger than you.
Corvette Monte Carlo, Galileo left side, Borg right side. It will be Steve Galileo, that 1963 split window Corvette, 688, on over his dial. 11 light. Dan Borg, 682. He dialed 684. He breaks out. He was 34th starting line. Galileo winning the battle at both ends of the race course. Well, racers, it tells us it's 9:27. You've got about 30 minutes to get everything put away and done. And winner's circle will be tomorrow. It won't take too long, get everything done, and then allow you the time to get back to your pit area, put it away. So we will do winner's circle tomorrow. Go ahead.
And as we get ready to wrap everything up, congratulations, Dan Olpa, to your top dragster champ. Steve Galileo taking a win in top sportsman. Tony Mandela over Scott McClay earlier in comp. Jimmy DeFrank taking out Lynn Schneider in the super stock final round. Justin Lamb doing what he does against Larry Gilly in the stock finals. Russ Stevenson against Chris Cannon, with Russ taking out the Cannon's Roadster in the Super Comp finals. Mike Boner doing it for the door cars. Cost me $1. In Super Gas, Fred Murphy took out reigning division champ Justin Cooper in Super Street. Gary Oakes, your Sportsman motorcycle champ, will start all over again tomorrow morning, boys and girls. Race number 2 on track at 8:15 in the morning. For everybody listening in on dragracer.tv, you've seen some excellent alcohol dragster qualifying, alcohol funny car qualifying, and from Sonoma Raceway and the Corbell, California, Champaign Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series doubleheader, we say good night from California. We'll see you in the morning. Everybody be safe.